What does my RX-7 that has been sitting for over 14 years and this hand drill have in common? Come on. Huh?
The electrical system in both of them is completely fucked. That B-roll was so fake, the battery isn't even plugged in. Okay guys, let me give you a quick rundown on what's the problem with my FC here. Because see, for the main inspection, we do not only need to figure out all of the mechanical stuff such as the brakes and the engine, but also many electrical problems. And even though previously the B-roll was kind of fake, actually there's some truth to it because my front and rear wiper do not work at all. Also, we will have to figure out this mess. This is actually not relevant for the inspection, but what is relevant for the inspection is, well, this and the headlights, because the problem with these is that one of them doesn't work properly. So with no further ado, let's take care of the headlights as well as the taillights. Do you approve, sir? That's what I thought.
For the taillights, I went with a set of brand new, and yes, brand new OEM S5 taillights directly from Japan. And I still cannot get over the fact that you can still buy these brand new from Mazda. To install them, we first need to get access to where they will be mounted by removing the trunk carpet first. Then we need to disconnect the harness, which contains all of the bulbs, to put them into the new taillights. By the way, if you enjoy this video so far, please consider subscribing and leave a like. This would help me out so much to reach more people with my content. And if you want to gain access to exclusive benefits and, well, want to buy me my monthly beer, you can also now become a channel member. Thanks for the support.
Okay, there's one small issue though, and that is that the JDM taillights, which these are actually much wider than the European taillights. The European taillights end right about here. The Japanese and the US models have the wider taillights. Now the problem with that is that the US and JDM taillights actually have license plate illumination built in, whereas the European models have it in the bumper, which looks super ugly. What this means is that the chassis is actually in the way because there's an extra bulb right behind here. So what I'm gonna have to do is actually drill into the chassis to make room for the taillight. I'm definitely not stoked about this, but well, we don't have any other option, and I think these are gonna look extremely awesome. Let's go.
But before we do that, let's temporarily put the battery in to check if I put all of the bulbs in the right spot. And of course, I mixed two up and even forgot to put one in entirely. And after fixing my rookie mistakes, it is time to drill the holes to properly install the taillights. This is also the point in the video where my camera suddenly decided to stop recording and to corrupt all of the previously recorded footage.
Alright guys, and would you look at that? Let me know in the comments below which one you actually prefer. The European taillights, which are a little bit shorter, I had them installed previously but I sold them, or the wide JDM/USDM taillights, which are these. I think they look insanely awesome, and I cannot believe that these are actually brand new from Japan and that you can actually buy brand new parts for a car from the 1980s. But anyways, now that we've got the taillights out of the way, let's move on to another very important part, and this is the headlights.
Because these are super faded and have some weird overspray on them. So I will be replacing them with brand new ones and also be upgrading them with LED bulbs.
But first guys, we obviously need to take a look at how the old headlights look. And well, as suspected, these old headlights are like, this one doesn't even work properly. Anyways, we're definitely gonna change these out for the new LED ones. So let's see how much of a difference that will make.
Okay, that's enough. I just really hope no one with photosensitive epilepsy is watching. And now that the old headlights are removed, it is time to prepare the new lenses for the install by replacing the bulbs that came with it with the brand new LED ones, which will not only look much better, but will also provide much better visibility. When installing LED bulbs, make sure that these are legal to use in your state or country. For Germany, these specific ones are actually legal, which is awesome because the RX-7 will get its main inspection soon. After putting everything back together in reverse order, let's have a look at how these shiny new headlights perform. Now that we got the headlights taken care of, we can take care of this mess by installing a new radio, and thankfully the FC wiring harness already came with these plug connectors, which means I can put the same connectors on the radio harness and plug everything in accordingly by just looking at the pinout diagram of the old harness and the new radio. Now I will actually not even be listening to any music in the RX-7 because I just want to enjoy the car and the sounds it produces. Therefore, I'm just installing this radio for navigation, etc. But of course, we have to test it out and see if this even works, because I literally just followed the wiring diagram on the old radio and on the new radio and just connected everything together the way I thought it's supposed to go together. So let's see if this even works. All right, key goes in and oh! It already works. Oh. It literally immediately connected to my phone. How is that even possible? Okay, no, actually, I had this radio previously in my Golf, and now I just basically transferred it from my Golf into the RX-7, so that's why I probably connected straight away. Wait, hold up. Copyright. Alright, so apparently the speakers work, which is good, and they don't even sound that bad. And guys, let me address something real quick. Old cars are awesome. They are raw, smell like oil, fuel and coolant, and just give you this dopamine rush only a few modern cars can give you. However, what is not so awesome about them is whenever you want to get into this damn thing, you need to go up to it with your key and unlock it manually on both sides, which is really annoying. And this is exactly why I'm going with one of these. Wow, camera doesn't focus at all. A central locking system. This means that after installing this, I will never have to go up to this thing with my key and unlock it manually again. I will just be able to unlock it with the press of a button. Well, and as you can see, I've already prepared this control unit a little bit because see, this control unit actually comes with many functions, including a full alarm system where the hazard lights are actually gonna light up and there's even a siren. But to be honest, I'm only here for the central locking function, so I basically just cut off all of the unnecessary cables. So now we can connect these little motors up to the control unit with some wires. These motors will sit behind the door cards, and once you press the button on the key, the control unit sends a signal to the motors, making them spin and unlock the doors via a linkage. The control unit also needs to be connected to the battery with this loom, which I will pull through the firewall. But first, we need to remove the door cards by loosening some screws. And also remove the two-stroke oil that I have already conveniently placed in them. And now we can take a look at the actual locking mechanism. As you can see right here, the lock switch is connected to the door lock via this rod. The motors need to be connected to this rod via a linkage. And now, once you press the button on the key, the motor will push the linkage and lock the door. Now the tedious work. Pulling the wires through the door and connecting them up to the motors. And after putting everything back together, I just have to repeat everything on the passenger side and connect everything up to the little control unit. Okay guys, let's see if this key does anything. It actually recognizes the key, which is really good, and I also heard from this motor that it moved. So in theory, let's watch this little lock thing and press it again.
Hell yeah! I mean, it's actually kind of reversed because on the key, when I press the unlock button, it actually locks the car, but I think that's just the way this thing is mechanically set up, so I probably cannot do anything about that. Let's test out the driver's side. Actually, hold up. I cannot even hear any noise from the motor and the door. Oh no. Oh no. Guess that means I will have to take everything apart again. Now I just hope that it's one of the motors that's actually faulty, because the good thing is, thankfully, I actually have many spare motors, as you can see right here. 3, I think I have a 4th one somewhere. Let's take everything back apart. I will just skip this part.
2 hours later.
And it finally works. By the way, excuse the music and maybe the hammering in the background. My neighbor, well, likes to loudly listen to music sometimes and hammer all day long. And by sometimes, I actually mean almost every time I come to the shop. But anyways, that's not what it's about, because I've actually finally managed to fix it. The problem was not the motor, the problem was some of the wiring, and now it finally works. As you can see, right now it's unlocked in the up position. I also decided to take apart the passenger side again to switch the motor around, so that way these little buttons actually match up with what the car is actually doing. So whenever I press the lock button, it actually locks. So let's close the door and see if it actually works now. Let's see, it should be locked now. Hell yeah, locked. And the other side, let me check. The other side is also locked, or well, semi in the down position. And guys, now that we know that the central locking system finally works, this is actually super convenient. Let's take care of one last thing.
And that would be RGB footwell lighting for the front and the back. And no, this is not sponsored. I've just used these LED strips in my Skyline before and I've never had any problems with it, so I thought I would run them again with this build.
Alright guys, and now that all of the wires are hidden, as you can see, the footwell lighting is right here. You can barely see it. And well, now it's basically just a matter of connecting it up, which is pretty straightforward because, well, it's just plus and minus. I can just take it from the ignition. And would you look at that? Like seriously, this looks so cool. And I think I'm actually gonna leave it at red because it really fits all of these red accents, like the red stitching, the red horn button, the red stitching here, the red stitching here. So I think red really goes well with this. And guys, of course, that's not all, because in the rear we also have footwell lighting, which just looks insane. I'm really curious to see on how this will look in the dark. Now sadly, I'm on a pretty tight schedule currently, which means that I will not be able to finish the wipers and fix them. But I think in the future I will definitely have to release one of these like miscellaneous videos where we just fix like small things all around, because there's still so much to do.